All right, guys, welcome in. Trying to get the broadcaster to work. Anyway, try to start a little bit early just to throw off the algorithms of all the censoring platforms out here. I tried to share this stream over on Fedbook, and it kept posting the thumbnail and title from last Friday. Pretty much a bunch of crap. I even tried to paste it in there, and it would just show the link with no thumbnail. Anyway, we just keep on battling the censorship. We got tons of stuff to get into before we get into the 16-day polar plunge vortex forecast. But there's things we got to get into before we get into the forecast. And tonight we're going to kind of highlight some of the weather modification that's going on over Australia and some of their companies. You know, we've showed a lot of the ones here in the United States, over in China, Russia, the United Arab Emirates, but tonight I'm focusing on Australia and their rain technologies. We're over here at the Australian Rain Technologies webpage, and we can see right here they've been testing since 2013 through 2017, and we can see that the estimated enhancement over a period is anywhere from 18% to 19.2% more rain. The level of confidence, 99.99%. And when you get down in here and look at some of this stuff, this is just one of the companies. All the companies that I'm going to go over real quick are in the description. Here's another one, Snowy Hydro. If you notice, all these companies, all these power companies, and like we have not only the power companies, but we also have the Department of Agriculture here in the States that are responsible for all these cloud seeding operations that we're seeing above our skies. And tonight we got a huge alert. We have a mass bunker fuel operation that we're going to get into, and how bad it is for your lungs and all that stuff. So this is another one, Snowy Hydro. This is out of Australia. Links are in the description. And then we got this here. The water crisis has prompted the state government to reconsider its long-held view that cloud seeding would be a waste of time in southeast Queensland. Well, they just ended up spending $7.6 million over the next 4 years to evaluate the effectiveness of cloud seeding. Well, look, they've been going on. If you go over here to the Marine and Atmospheric Research, you can scroll on down here and see when they started. They started cloud seeding experiments began in Australia in 1947. And you can just see all the tests they did. Tons of experiments in 1955 to 1963. Experiments in Tasmania, 1992 to 19... I mean, they've been doing it forever. And it's not just Australia. It's every single country out there. Now, here's Hydro Tasmania. Now, what's pretty crazy is when you go over here and you start looking at their resources here, go to water, click rainfall, click their cloud seeding thumbnail here, or hyperlink. Check this out. It's pretty crazy. All right, cloud seeding program. Hydro Tasmania no longer conducts cloud seeding program. Cloud seeding flight stopped in June 2016. Really? Well, it's pretty crazy when you get down in here and read. If I can find it again. This is pretty nuts. But they were, where was that? Okay, so they did some environmental tests. Back in 2014, soil samples were collected at 2 different locations in the townships of Queensland. Water samples were also collected from the water bodies and creeks. The samples were tested for acetone. And dichlorobenzene. These two chemicals make up 95% of the cloud seeding solution. But they're saying neither chemical was detected in any of the samples and the test can be viewed. They're actually testing for acetone, so they're spraying us with acetone. Or at least, you know, that's pretty much the likes of it. So there is a win against the New World Order. Thanks out there, Iron Man. Up in the Regina. This is up in Canada somewhere. Regina, I think in the Canada. Here, we'll see here. Yeah, Canada. SAS Power ordered to remove all smart meters in the province. SAS Power has announced they are removing all the smart meters that were installed in the province. The minister responsible said the utility company will be taking out 105,000 smart meters around Saskatchewan. I think the concerns about safety are paramount here. The concerns are significant enough. Anytime families are at risk, actions have to be taken. The removal of the smart meters over the next 6 to 9 months will cost around $15 million. You think that they'll be doing that here in the United States? I don't think so. This article should have been up a little farther, but here's where they spent $10 million into the rain-making gamble back in 2007. So, you know, they do it everywhere. I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention here. Now, if you didn't know, PG&E have their own meteorologists. They've added over 50 new weather stations, advanced forecasting abilities, predict extreme weather and wildfire potential. This come out on July 16, 2018. As part of the Community Wildlife Safety Program, PG&E is building a network of weather stations to monitor. You know, they say it's to monitor, but how about to control? You know, PG&E, they're not only your gas company and your light company, they're also part of the Precipitation Enhancement Strategy, the California Water Plan. If you didn't know this, like I said, all these links are in the description. But they do cloud seeding operations. This is PG&E. Here's all the areas that they've done the cloud seeding operations. You know, same as the fire zones, the fracking zones, the earthquake zones. So here you go, man. If you didn't know, here you are. So you got the California Energy Commissions, the Department of Water Resources, Atmospheric Research. I mean, they're all in on it. They're all in on it. So governments around the world are considering taxing red meat like tobacco in an effort to curb climate change. Are you serious? It's nuts, man. What's going on is just completely nuts. No, I didn't even know that we went offline. I don't know what caused that. They must not have liked what we were talking about. No, I didn't even know that we went offline. I don't know what caused that. They must not have liked what we were talking about. And I don't even know how far I got into the show before it went out. Man. All right, we'll have to upload that one as a video. I'm not sure what's going on with the stream here. It says we're live, but I don't know if we're live. We're just going to have to keep on going like we're live, man. I will have to probably upload this or something. All right, let me refresh the YouTube page. They apparently didn't like that content. Okay, I'm live now. Oh, wow. Yeah, I've been talking for a long time. I just went over tons of stuff and had, like, I'm way ahead of you guys. I didn't even know. I didn't know the stream went down. All right. Well, maybe I'll upload that because I'm not going back over all that stuff. I've already closed all the links. And what I was getting into is I was showing all the radiation alerts that went off over in California. It was a rad 5. They were popping off all over the place. And I might be able to reload that map. Let me see if I can here. Yeah, that freaks me out. I didn't know that we weren't live no more. And let's see here. Yeah, I had to turn the resolution down too when I noticed we were shut down. But yeah, it's not showing right now. Maybe if I go to the animation page here. Yeah, there was a rad 5. Let's see if I can get this to go here. Yeah, I had all this loaded. This is what I was going over when we got shut down. And the war on the meat and all that stuff. You guys probably missed out on that. So let's see if we can get this back going. Yeah, they threw me out, man. I didn't even know. Like, everything was working fine on my end. Did they take it out? It's like all the... Well, there's a really high one there. Racom 4s. Wow, I think they took off the Radcon 5 that was in San Francisco. But look at all these high levels of radiation popping off all down the coast. I mean, look at this. All over the place. Even in Hawaii and New York. So we have tons of high levels of radiation popping off here, the rads. So they took off, since we just got booted, they took off the level 5. See if I can go back, see if it'll still show up on here. Probably not. Wow. Well, if I upload that first part, yeah, we had a level 5 over here that went off. But kind of lost my spot with all that going off there. Losing the deal here. All right, so I was going to go over all this again. I'll just upload that as a different video. We're going to go ahead. I got to show you something here. All right, so yesterday, we were here yesterday. Look at this thing. It looks like they were creating or trying to kill off a cyclone from hitting the West Coast. And I'm not kidding either. I tried to go back and they blocked out the information. Like, they just blocked out this part of the map I need to see, and they took it out. And yesterday, here is the bunker fuel operations right out here off the coast of Washington and Oregon. All these lines out here, these long billowing lines, they're all over out here, big Z's. And let me show you what happened today. So they disintegrated that. Let me get back over to today. That was yesterday's. Now look at the size of this bunker fuel operation here off the coast of Oregon and Washington. Click the enhancement. Now all these long lines, these are all bunker fuel. You want to know what climate change is? It's these. These are probably the second most contributor to affecting the climate, and they're everywhere out here. I mean, I haven't seen this many and since the Paradise Fires. So this is about the same size operation, and they're not just there. They're over here. We got them out here right in the middle of the Pacific, and then they're over here off the Kamchatka coast. So we have like one of the biggest bunker fuel operations I've ever seen out here in the Pacific. What the heck's going on? So you got huge swaths of bunker fuel being deployed. They're trying to change the climate. Now this is going to affect our air quality big time. And it's going to affect what's happening with the weather. Now, why that's huge operations going on, we also have the most, probably the most dramatic part of the climate engineering is the aerosols that are being deployed. You can see the big X's mark the spot. So you have mass spraying operations going on over Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Nevada, Utah, all over New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, just everywhere. The Gulf of Mexico. So this is the number one contributor to the climate change, is the aerosols that all the aircraft are deploying. It's not water vapor like they say. It's something else. Minnesota being sprayed like bugs. I can hear the military planes flying over the house right now. All right, so let's just go ahead and jump into the 16-day forecast, because this I kind of lost my spot with this thing messing up. Anyway, so we can take a look here. We kind of zoom in on this a little bit. There we go. Now I wish I could center it. Too much. All right, so we're looking at the next 2 weeks of precipitation. You know, nothing big. We got some pretty heavy stuff there in Oregon and Washington, right where the aerosols and the bunker fuels being deployed. Now, it's not only to create this moisture, it's to affect the jet stream winds and the temperatures up in the ionosphere. So, you know, a little shift right here and all this moisture could be over on the East Coast. We got a pretty heavy spot right there in Oklahoma, Arkansas, and southern Missouri. Little spot there in Alabama that's going to get some moisture, and then the upper Northeast. So let's go ahead and get into the forecast models and just see what they say. Now, I can already tell you we're going to get a couple good cold blasts coming in. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. I'm just going to kind of scroll through. If we see something major, we'll point it out. Looks like the winds are calmed down there on the West Coast. Got a little system going across Michigan. Hey, thanks out there. Rage Against the Machine. All right, so we're just going to let that... I mean, we should be chemtrail free. The whole United States should be chemtrail free over the next 48 hours, but it won't be. They'll be spraying out ahead of these snow systems. And they try to split little sections off of the high pressures, turning them into low pressures to create the rain. We know the aerosols are going to be deployed over Florida. So here on Wednesday, looks like you're going to be getting a little bit of rain, maybe some storms right there off the coast of Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida. They're seeding right now around Cuba to make it rain. We got a little bit of a snow event going on in Iowa, Minnesota, North Dakota, and this is going to be a wind event. So any kind of precipitation with this on November 6th, this could be blizzard type conditions. Tracking right across the Great Lakes on November 7th. Here comes the cold high pressure. This coming in on the 7th. We'll have some pop-up storms there in Oklahoma, southern Missouri, Arkansas, New Mexico. Might even get a little rain in Arizona. And then it picks up a little bit more on Thursday, later in the day on November 7th. This might be a little storm. Look, we got a lot of wind coming in on the back side of this, so this could spin up a tornado in Texas on the November 7th. This thing's just sticking around, man. It's sticking around right where the aerosols are being deployed today. This is on November 8th. More severe weather for Texas and Alabama, Mississippi, maybe Louisiana. It's just going to track real slow. Right down towards the north part of Florida, Georgia. I mean, we're talking flooding rains here. So heads up from the 7th through the 9th. And here comes the cold stuff. Super cold. It's going to be a blizzard type condition every storm up here in Wyoming and Montana. I got a little bit of wind picking up there in California on the 10th. And here it comes up the first pretty good snow event for Nebraska, Kansas on November 11th. This thing's going to drop way down. Look, we got ice in Arkansas, snow in southern Missouri, Oklahoma snow, Kansas snow. Now we just got to watch to see if this shifts towards land here on the 11th. 11/11, that's a big day. They like to pull stuff off on 11/11. Pretty good wind event this day. So this storm's going to have quite a bit of wind with it. Here comes the snow up through the Ohio Valley on the 12th. So northeast, you're going to get a pretty good amount of snow. A couple, 2, 3, 4 inches. Just going to track this on. It's going to be windy all winter, it looks like. We got tons of wind. These are southerly winds. So it's going to get really cold. And then it's going to warm up. And then it's going to get super cold again. Everybody's going to get sick. And they're going to start pushing the flu vaccinations. Florida, more rain for you on the 14th. Looks like you could have some severe weather here. Go from the 14th. Going later into the day on the east side of Florida. So heads up on that one. And look at this thing trying to spin up. Let's see if that... Alright, so that one's not going to go into a nor'easter, but you're going to get heavy snow way up in the upper northeast. Here we are on the 16th. This should be like really chemtrail free for days and days, but it won't be. We have all the bunker fuel being deployed right now, and here comes the next big event on the 18th. We're talking blizzard, feet of snow, heavy flooding rains, probably mudslides and everything going on in Washington and Oregon. They're setting it up right now. I mean, we're talking heavy snow, wet snow for a couple days in a row. And while that's going on, you got another severe weather down here in the Gulf of Mexico that's going to start popping up, trying to go up to the northeast. So heavy flooding rain for the east here later in the month on the 19th. Now this one is going to turn into a nor'easter. So one side of the storm, you're going to have heavy wet snow. And the other side, you're going to have severe thunderstorm type weather, wind event going into the 19th. Let's go ahead and go check the temperature maps. Let's go ahead and back this baby up. And we're a little too far behind here. Let's get it on today. Okay, here we are today. So these are the surface temperatures, pretty close to surface temperatures. So let's see what kind of temperatures we're getting in here. So not too bad, you know, typical stuff here. Here comes the first pretty good cold wave dropping down. So it's moving pretty quick. So you're going to get down into the 20s here on the 9th. Then here comes our next. Now here's a pretty good cold blast here. You're looking at 6 degrees in North Dakota. And, you know, it's a pretty good cold air mass. It's still not quite the polar vortex cold. I mean, it is up here in like Quebec and Canada. But, I mean, it's still pretty cold. This is going to be some of the coldest air going almost all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. So you're in the 20s on the November 12th. And then it retreats. But, I mean, this is pretty cold air everywhere. Except for California. So we're not seeing none of the super Arctic cold getting down yet. And that's because they're still doing the heating event down here in Antarctica. You take a look at the temperatures. They're still producing a compression event down here. Now what's going to happen is all these winds are going to be leaving the Antarctica. They're pushing them off, and then they're all going to be up here in the Arctic. Then that's when they can start pushing the super cold polar vortex mass around and cause all kinds of winter havoc. And we're expecting that this year. Let's check the jet stream winds. You know, I like looking at these when you got such a big bunker fuel operation out here. You know, you got to trying to figure out what the heck are they doing out here. Let's check the vortice layer. Right here is where that weird spin up was. I mean, this thing should have turned into a hurricane or a cyclone or whatever you want to classify it as. But they destroyed it. Checking the surface winds. Here's that spin up. I mean, when you're looking at this, all the winds, this thing should just keep on spinning right on over to the west coast, but they're not going to let it. They got the bunker fuel out there to help them steer the jet stream winds. Go ahead and check the pressures. Here's our humidity. That's what I want, pressures. See, here they are. The bunker fuel ships are in the high pressure again in both areas. And here's this spinning low pressure, man. This thing should be like a cyclone right here. At one time, it was a tropical cyclone. But they're blocking it. They put the block on it. They don't want any moisture getting to California till they're done burning it up. Let me just check the energy. See, it's sucking energy right into it. You have the winds to spin it, and they're blocking it with the man-made high pressure system. Let's go ahead and check the wave heights. Pretty good waves up in the north. So right where the heating event is, we got tons of waves. Probably about 40 footers, 38, 33. And let's go ahead and check the carbon monoxide. So look, the whole, man, this is crazy. The whole West Coast is got tons of carbon monoxide, not only from the fires, but from the fracking and everything else. Same up in the upper Northeast. Wow, we got horrible air quality. It's all that smoke in there. Look, it's in the green. That's not good. It's stuck in the valleys. All the way up to Washington. Got bad air quality. over near Lake Michigan and in the upper Northeast. So this is really picked up over the last couple days to bad levels. Let's go ahead and check the dust. Here comes our big dust flume coming over. Let's go ahead and check the PM 2.5s. You know, you got mega toxic. Look at the stuff up here in Canada from the fracking, the fires, you know, everything that's leaking out. That's a volcano right there. Look, the volcano doesn't look near as bad as what's going on up in Canada. So, pretty bad stuff right here. Now, I wanted to jump back over to this map for a minute. Now, we always show that there's one place on the map that hardly ever gets sprayed. Right here, guess what? They're getting sprayed. We have an aerosol deployment. They must be getting some scheduled rain out here. We know there's a rain event going on. The United Arab Emirates is over here conjuring up cyclone after cyclone after cyclone. They turned the weather generator on, and now they're producing rain for the Horns of Africa and Somalia and all kinds of different places. Iran, Iraq, all this rain, all these clouds up here have been tampered with. And I'm trying to remember if there's something else I was wanting to show you guys. Other than the bunker fuel, I mean, that's the worst. So this is probably the worst I've seen since the Paradise Fire. So I just want to, I mean, this is one of the biggest operations out here I've ever seen. This is actually bigger than the one from the Paradise Fire. And then you got the other one over here and the other high pressure. What are they doing out here? How'd they get so many ships out here? So that's something we're going to have to be watching for over the next few days. What are they doing out here? There's two humongous fleets of weather modification ships out here off the coast. This stuff's going to be drifting in, causing breathing problems and all kinds of stuff. So where's all the smoke from the fires? Hey, what's happening? Yeah, they got sun simulators. I mean, I don't think our sun is a simulator right now, but they do have them. You know what you can do? A lot of the satellite-based weapons are basically sun simulators. They're like having a magnifying glass up in the sky, and you're pointing the beam down, trying to get it focused to cook something, just like they did in the Paradise Fires. Alright, so anyway, guys, I'm going to jump off here. My voice is shot. They already blew the stream out once, so here, I'll put this. I'll have to change the name of this one to 2, so it changes the name. Yeah, bunker fuel, man, all you gotta do is Google it. It's the most toxic emissions on the planet. They call it accidental geoengineering. They call it cloud brightening. They call it cloud whitening. They call it everything but what it is. It's a toxic, you know, the most toxic emissions on the planet. One of these ships can put off, you know, 13 to 20 million cars worth of emissions in one day. So if you counted all these ships, we're talking, these are putting off more than all the countries put together of cars worth of emissions at one time. Now there's supposed to be regulations on these, but they eased them because they say it helps fight global warming. Well, they're going to turn us into an ice age. So anyway, there you go, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end this show. Thanks everybody out there that shares this stuff, sends us stuff, and helps us and all that stuff. And hopefully we won't have no problems tomorrow night when we dig into this stuff. All right, guys, so much love there. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Let's play a song called Rise. And hopefully I can get this thing to work right tomorrow. Anyway, guys, much love. Here we go, maybe. I don't know even know if it's going to work.